Hi, I'm Jen with JKC Mobile Notary, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome or welcome back. If you've been here before, I'm glad you're back. This is your first time here. I'm super glad to have you. Today, we get to talk to another notary who's diversifying their business. Today, I want to talk to you about, well, I don't want to talk to you about, I want you to meet and enjoy the interview I did with my friend, Andy Moore. He is a notary in Southern California who has added permit running to his notary services, and he's killing it. You guys don't miss this interview. He's fantastic. I don't want to say anything else. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go meet Andy. Hi, everybody. It's Jen with JKC Mobile Notary, and today I'm bringing you another notary that has found a way to diversify their notary business. And I'm super excited to be sitting here with my friend, Andy Moore. Andy, how are you?
Good.
Good. You and I just talked a little bit about how you have been staying busy because we are doing this interview the last full week of May. So you've been
Last week of the month is,
yeah,
just seems to be the strongest one.
Yeah. Well, I just want to get in really quickly, Andy, and before we get into the questions about how you're diversifying your business, I want to know a little bit about how you started as a notary.
It was in the middle, the beginning of COVID. And I was laying awake one night, probably like a lot of people going, wow, what's my career going to look like now going forward? But because I'm further along in my career, I said, what's my next career going to look like? Because working from home at that time was still pretty new to me, and I felt a lot more isolated. Got used to it after a while, but I definitely felt isolated.
Yeah.
And then right in the middle of that, I decided when the rates were really, really good, I got a home equity line.
Oh.
And a guy older than me, there aren't that many of those people anymore, comes swaggering in his golf slacks, his loafers, and his polo shirt.
Yeah.
And he's got a stack of loan papers under his arm, and we go sit in my backyard, and he just starts whipping through them. And I could see he was just getting text after text after text. And I was asking him, well, how many do you have? A few more today? And he goes, yeah, I'll probably get 4 in today, I think, maybe one more. And we got to talking, and how does this work? And pretty quickly, well, how much do you make? And and then the zinger came. I said, how many days a week do you do this? And he goes, I do this 3 days a week, and I golf 4 days. And I go,
he is living his retirement plan right now.
That guy's a genius right there.
Yep.
So I'm going to investigate this a little further. So that's literally how I got started, in mobile notary business. So
your journey to being a notary sounds a lot like a lot of people that we know. Sue
right.
Hope of Notary Assist, she became a notary the same way, except the person that came to her house became her mentor and coach, and she worked with her for years.
Wow.
So I love everybody's different stories. There's a lot of similarity, but how people become notaries is not a straight line. And so it's a really cool way to hear how you discover these things. Okay. Right. Well, the reason you're here with me today is because you may not agree with me, but I think one of the ways that you've been diversifying your business and for how long that you've been doing it is really inspiring, and it's inspired me to do it myself. And that is permit running. We're going to get into what permit running is, but how did you discover this in the first place?
I was watching a YouTube video that was put out by the NNA and a guy named Daniel, and I believe his last name's Lewis. I can't remember, but okay. He said 5 ways I'm, diversifying my mobile notary business. And, he did these, and one of them was permit running. And he talked about it just long enough to kind of,
Pique your
pique my
interest.
interest.
Hmm.
And so I kind of chased it down. I'm one of those people. It's like I hear something interesting and I want to know more about it. If I can't find it, there wasn't a lot out there on it, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I found a little bit, and then I contacted Laura Bewer, and we talked about a few things. And I said, "Hey, I saw this video by Daniel and the NNA and permit running. You know anything about that?" And
Of course she did.
of course she did. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go, that's your go-to
That's your
just for
go-to. She is the
anything
goat for a reason.
remotely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she said, "Hey, there's actually a lady who has a course, I believe, out there, and her name is Cynthia Alexander, and it's her school is called CYNANOTARY, and she literally did have an online class." And so I just jumped on that, and you know like a hungry dog going after a bone, I just grabbed it and shook it, and I found it really interesting. It was very easy to understand, very short chapters, and it wasn't super academic. It was just very, very practical. And so then I kind of talked to a few of my contractor friends, you know, and they kind of looked at me like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, I
It
do
wasn't
that.
something that they had worked with before. These people you talked to?
Mainly they pulled their own permits. And so they were just kind of like, well, yeah, maybe that could be. And so then I started going to a few of the municipalities,
Hmm.
and I would go into it's usually in the civic center, and I
Hmm.
go into the building and planning department, and I would ask uh, what came to be known to me as a permit tech. They have
Yeah.
permit techs and planning techs, and those people are there to really help facilitate, get that permit going or review them or whatever. And so I went to a few different cities and told them that I was going to start permit running, and they were like, "Oh, okay." And a few of them I even said, "Do you get many of those in here?" And yeah, we get a few of those. Or some cities were like, "We get a lot of those." And I said, "Okay,
Wow.
that means
That
we're
kind of
on to
made,
something."
yeah.
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 Yeah, so we're on to something there. Well, then, of course, I went to my own hometown and I asked them about it, and they were not helpful.
Isn't
I
that
got
funny?
somebody who was not helpful, and I came to find out that I think this was somebody just filling in at the information desk that day,
Mm.
because they've been super helpful since then, and it's been a different person. But they let me know that there is a portal you can go on. Now, not every city does this, but
Hmm.
many do. There was a portal that you could go on, and you could find all of the permits that had been issued back to the mid 90s.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And so I was just, now I'm really blown away. And because I, have really come up back, my background has been in sales and marketing.
Hmm.
I'm not afraid to really talk to people, and
Right.
I'm not afraid to make cold calls and all that. So I tried a combination of going to what appeared to be a contractor's office.
Hmm.
Either I found them from a Google search,
Right.
or I might have seen somebody's van parked on the side of the road,
Yeah.
something plumbing. And so I did, those turned into nothing. Those were absolutely nothing. And I think during COVID, a lot of them, I think they were all really busy actually during COVID, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. But they may have shut their offices or they rarely go to them anymore. So then it was kind of back to cold calling. And the next thing that happened was also a game changer for me. So I went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting here in my town and told one of the guys that, you know, I introduced myself to. He and I were talking. He was a realtor, mainly a realtor. And he kind of specialized in some certain things. And I told him that I was going to get into permit running. And he said, oh, well, then you need to be part of, and it was called the Building Trades Network. So I went online and tried to find out, hey, when do they meet and all this other stuff. It was not easy to find. So I said, okay, it looks like they're meeting on Tuesdays over here in Newport Beach, you know, the city next to mine. So I show up at 7 a.m. at the Newport Beach Tennis Club, which is where they held their meetings.
Yeah.
According to this online thing, like, because their website looked pretty old.
Yeah.
And I asked the lady, I said, hey, I'm here for the Building Trades Network meeting, expecting her to say the what?
Yeah.
Because it didn't look like anybody else was there at 7 a.m. And she said, hey, do you know anything? You know, she looked at another coworker, and you know anything about the Building Trades Network? It's supposed to be at 7 a.m. The guy goes, oh, they haven't met here in a couple of years. So they had stopped meeting during COVID, I think, and gone to Zoom meetings like a lot of networking groups. So I went back to that website one more time, and I'm looking around, and I finally find a page. I mean, really poking around here. And there's my neighbor. There's a picture of my neighbor on there, you know, as one of the members. So I immediately send him a text, you know, hey, Steve, what's this? Yeah.
How
hey,
funny.
I'm starting a permitting, you know, service and da 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 da. And so anyway, one thing led to another. That turned into a networking group that has I've been going there for almost a year now. They have been a game changer for me. So very tight group of contractors and service providers like me that all are there to really do business with one another. And it's one of those things where, you know, the longer you come, the more trust you build with your peers in there.
Right.
And so I was thinking, man, there's got to be, you know, some opportunities here. So it took a while. I will say that it took a while to get a little traction going, but things are really starting to click there as well. And then along the way, it took me several months to get my first contractor who said, yeah, matter of fact, the last permit renter I had was really flaky, and you know, I think I got one right now. I'll call you next week. So that's how it all started.
Well, it was a lot of legwork for you.
It was a lot of trial and error.
You took your training, you go out and try to find these people to market to. You're right. A lot of businesses, all sorts of them, have shifted from being in their offices to they're making deals on the phone, and then they show up where they need to show up. They're not doing the in-between anymore. And so I can imagine that was a little bit of a trick for you. But I love that you brought this up about getting into that networking group, because when notaries are looking to diversify, they want immediate satisfaction. I see it a lot, right? I want to be a loan signing agent because I'm going to make $150. No, you're not. Not right out the gate, you're not. You know, so but I see a lot of the not wanting to work for it, I guess is the best way to put it. But I love that you put it that way, because you got the training, you figured out how you're going to do this, you know who you need to market to. Your own footwork set you up for success, because now you have a place to show up to every month or however much they meet. And you're right, you start to build trust. You do an assignment for one person, you do a good job. Another time you do another good job, another time they're going to talk about you, because these people in these industries talk to each other. So you put yourself in a beautiful position, Andy. I can't imagine being in a better spot to launch this part of your business.
When I first showed up to that meeting, I stood up, because you have to introduce yourself and do your little 30-minute elevator, which is, of course, been really good practice for me as well. And I told everybody, wow, I have so many projects on my house that I need, and I'm going to need, including a kitchen remodel and all that,
Yeah.
And the two main contractors said, I can't really help you right now. I'm just so busy.
So busy.
And I was like, well, but it is reciprocal. It's going both ways, because I am using these contractors. I've used an electrician, a painter. I'm now going to use a general contractor, or which looks like the beginning of my kitchen remodel, and
Exciting.
several, a door replacement on site. So it's very reciprocal. So that's good. And then finally, I literally, I've gotten a couple of calls off of my Google business, but I finally got my first order off my Google business just a little over a week ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is another thing I wanted to share with you, as people are exploring opportunities in this area, that architects actually are also a very good customer resource
For permit running?
Yes,
Wow.
because architects and engineers will frequently bundle that in as part of their value add. Is, hey,
Perfect.
I'll do your drawings and I'll get you through the permitting stage.
Interesting.
Or a structural engineer would do the same thing. They would include that in there. But at the end of the day, they might be getting so busy during the month that, just like a contractor, okay, I don't have time to go pull this permit, or it's been pulled so many times, that I are reviewed so many times, I don't have time to go down that one more time. So then they flip it to me. So,
well, I'm glad actually you brought up the Google thing, because I think that we are told that Google is the end all for all businesses, especially for notaries. But what you're telling me right now is that put it on Google. Okay.
Sorry.
Put it on Google, but you've got to get out and pound the pavement.
Yeah, I think both is required. I really think both is required.
Has permit running increased your revenue as a business owner?
Tremendously. It, like I said, there was a several months of nothing, and there's another lady that I've contacted. She's also in Florida. Her name is Miko Simpson, and her company is called the Permit Empire. She's all over YouTube, and she's a great lady. You can call her and schedule a consultation call, and she's just a wealth of information. So she's another, between her videos and consultation calls, she's another really good resource, I think.
Tell me her name again.
Miko, Miko Simpson, Simpson. And her videos are usually called Permit Empire, and you'll see her on. She has a Facebook page and all that stuff. Yeah, so
I'll link her information when this goes out to YouTube so that people can find her.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, we've gone over the training. We've gone over how you market and to whom, your revenue. Are there any other factors of being a permit runner that you think people should know about before they dive into this diversity of their business?
I would say, you don't feel like you have to be an engineer and be able to read building plans and all that. Because, by the way, not every permit requires building plans. It just seems like there's more opportunity for that because it's more complicated, and that's why it takes more time, and there's the contractor is more interested. So but don't feel like you have to be a a structural engineer or anything like that, the basics of completing a permit are on that drawing somewhere, like
Mm-hmm.
total square footage and names and, all the other stuff. And
Yeah.
anything that you don't know, they know, and they're glad to share that with you. They're just glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be, a contractor or an expert or anything in that field. And you're going to learn things as you go along the way.
Mhm.
That's how I've just picked up what I
That's how
picked
you
up.
do anything really is
Yes.
you go. Yeah. Yeah. Are you willing to share? Because I know people will ask
Mm.
what the what kind of income range you're making off of this. You don't have to give me specifics, but
Yeah.
some
Why don't
idea.
I give you like a range?
Okay.
So I would say between 100 and 400 plus dollars
Okay.
per permits. You're also probably going to be filling out a business license for a contractor, because they'll say, I've already got a business license, but it turns out that it was expired.
Mm-hmm.
And then another area for me now is, because I've had to, even though you submit permits online a lot of times, although I'd say at least 40% of the time you don't. You have to go over the counter, as they call it. You have to go down there to the
Yeah.
office. And even on an online submission, you're probably going to have to go down to the office to pick up the approved city stamp plans and what they call a job card. So there's still some mobile footwork, courier
Right.
type work that's involved there. So you're going to have to get those plans printed, most likely somewhere at a reprographics store or something like that. Because when I went to FedEx, they were charging almost $7 a page for some of these documents. And you'd have to submit at least 12 pages or something like that, so you can see. And I would just rebuild my customers for that. But now I'm able to, because I just bought a CAD printer.
I was going to ask you about that.
So now I have another little, profit center in my
I can
business.
print your business plans.
Yeah. So, that could add somewhere between $60 and $120 maybe per.
Oh yeah. Just for printing.
Yeah.
I did when I took my little hiatus in my business and I went back to work for a little bit. I worked for a general contractor, and I paid the bills of the people that printed those blueprints. So I know how much you can make just printing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's become another opportunity for me. And like I said, I think also just discovering that architects are also, now a good customer resource. They may actually refer you to their customer, or they may pay you directly. It just depends. Yeah. But they're still a great resource. So that, and this one that I'm working on this week is actually it's for a commercial business, like a retail space.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's a little bit different as well. But the thing is a lot of these types of permits will be the master permit plus an electrical plus a plumbing, perhaps even including a mechanical. So then you have some add-ons, and you got to price those accordingly. But so there's lots of opportunity.
Gotcha. Have you set up a different business or a different business card or anything that separates your notary business from this? Or are you just doing it through your notary business?
I'm doing it as kind of my more signings enterprise does that, and mobile notary, permitting, and apostille work. But I can tell you right now, I feel like there's still one more business segment I haven't even come across yet that's out there that's going to fall under that umbrella. And then I got to figure out, now what do I do?
Loan signings, apostille work, permit running. I don't know what the next one will be, but I'll be excited to hear when you figure it out.
I know. I know it's out there.
Yeah. Maybe it's notary coaching or training. You never know.
Never
You
know.
never know. There's another question I'm going to ask you. What would be the first thing you would suggest someone doing if being a permit runner is something they're interested in?
I would really take that course
Okay.
from Cynthia Alexander's course, CYNANOTARY, CYNA Notary. That would be like the first thing. And like I said, it's very basic and easy to digest, and it's just full of some really good information and good ideas. And she's a really inspiring person anyway, you know.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that, Andy. Listen, now you've been doing this for about a year, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. When notaries came into being notaries because of loan signings, and loan signings left. Those notaries right now are the ones that are sticking around, are really trying to find all the things that can make up for the loss of that money. Would you say permit running has done that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm making easily now. I was only doing mobile notary part-time before I went full-time a year ago. So,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely at what I was doing just part-time as a mobile notary, and even more now. So
Yeah.
I can see that. And the great thing about it is, it's like having a lot of other types of direct business. You get a lot of repeat business from those customers, same customers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome. This is awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about it. I think that don't be surprised, Andy, when this comes out, if people reach out to you. I'm not gonna make you hey, if you want to know more, ask Andy, but don't be surprised if they find you. It's really interesting when people hear something that sparks, they'll go straight to the horse's mouth. And today you were the horse's mouth. So don't be surprised if you get a little uptick of interest, but I'm really grateful that you just sat down and talked with me about it. I'm excited to go back through the course and just kind of get all my ducks in a row, as I'm waiting for Sacramento to issue my background check renewal. They are dragging their feet by like 4 months. And yeah, so I've been stuck in the water for loan signings. If I had gotten my act together with this, I would have already been working towards doing permit running. So it is on my goal for the next quarter. Thank you for taking your time today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, you take care of you. Is there anything else you want to share before we take off?
Don't be afraid to go out there and try something you haven't done before.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Hi. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Andy, and I hope it inspired you to get some education, get some training, and add permit running to your list of services. Did you miss the part that this part of his business has replaced the income he's lost with the slowdown in loan signings? Did you miss it? I didn't miss it. I'm jumping on it. Are you going to jump on it? I hope that you found this helpful. And I know that there's so many questions people have about different things that we can do with our notary commission. So I hope that you'll leave a comment down below and let me or Andy answer it, or say hello, or leave an emoji, whatever you'd like to do. But all of our contact information is down below, plus links to the resource page, links to the Notary Business Essentials course, links to the Power of Attorney course, links to the Jail Notary course. There's so much. So check it all down below. And until next week, take care of yourself, but investigate how to grow your business through diversity. See you later.